There are some counterproductive things that I see people do when they're learning to play the piano, whether they're studying with a piano teacher or they're teaching themselves. Honestly, I think 100% of people suffer from these things because they're kind of human nature. They're kind of we just want to do it like that. And if you could just not do some of these things, you're going to become such a better musician, I promise. I have a list of a few things that I want to talk about today, but it really all boils down to this one thing, and it's this illiteracy, being not literate, not able to read music. It's a big problem. This is going to come across as a little snarky, and I think I'm okay with that because in education, we value literacy. We value being able to read. In fact, if your kid went to school and the teacher was like, just do whatever you want, just play around, or just try to remember the things I tell you, we would be very disappointed if reading wasn't a huge part of the curriculum. I really value sheet music. I just love it myself. Most of the pieces that I want to learn are all written down. I use it as a tool to help me remember things, to help me be very secure on what the notes are, to help me understand what is the intention of the composer, because there's more things in the sheet music besides just notes. It's a huge tool in organizing your practice, keeping notes, keeping track of things, remembering things, studying. The same way you used writing in different ways in your education, music notation has that same effect on your music education. If so far that tracks, you're good with what I just said, I think we might get along, and I would like to invite you to join my email list. It's in the link below in the description. Number one mistake to avoid, number one thing to avoid is rote learning. If I work with a brand new student, first couple of weeks is just rote teaching. I'm going to show you, you play it back. I'm going to show you, you play it back. After about 1 or 2 lessons, we're immediately into the sheet music, building up their literacy skills. So the problem is you don't want your skill of playing to outpace your skill of reading too much. If you do that, you end up being able to play a whole bunch and not being able to read very well. And then the likelihood of that literacy catching up to your ability to play, it just gets smaller and smaller the longer you go on. You get to a point where sheet music would be really, really useful to you, except the sheet music that is at the level of your playing is like incomprehensible to you because you haven't spent any time in sheet music. I see a lot of people learning piano, they take the visual part of the piano and they try to make it about the keyboard, and it really is not about the keyboard. The visual part of piano is in the sheet music. That's really where the eyes should be focused on the sheet music. The approaches that I see in the online piano space comes down to rote learning, where I'm showing you the keys, or there's light up lights on my keyboard that show me what keys to play, or there's pictures that show me what keys to play. You know, the light bars that come down and then they show you what it's like. It's called a piano visualizer thing. That's just fancy ways of learning by rote, where you're watching the keys and then playing back. And it's not music notation. Please don't make that the new music notation. It's not the same thing, and it's much more limited. Is it more intuitive? Yeah. 1,000 years or so of written sheet music. It's well established. It's universally spoken. Is it intuitive? No. There's 2 modes of transfer. One is sheet music. The second is by ear. You can do one or the other. You're either listening and playing back and trying to comprehend and play back, or you're reading it out of sheet music. Those are the 2 modes of learning a piece of music. If I could go back in time and talk to my 8-year-old self who was starting to play the piano, if I could tell that person one more thing, it would be, you gotta sing. You have to sing a lot more. You have to sing. And I know that there's this knee-jerk reaction in a lot of piano players, people that are sitting at the piano, they'll go, I just don't sing. I'm not comfortable singing. I don't have a good voice. It's not about being a good singer. I didn't say be a good singer. I didn't say sing well. I just said sing. Just match the pitch. Just sing something, please. Because if you can sing it back, it means you remember it in your inner ear. I wish I had done so much more of this sort of point and sing thing where you don't actually play anything. You just point. Dum. You get the note. Da 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 dum ba da dum bum 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 bum. Little things like that. I'm just going in a scale because I'm not very good at it, but I wish I'd done a lot more of that. Sing. Number 3 is playing too fast. This is on everybody's list. Everybody would say, what's the number one mistake? It's like, don't practice so fast. You got to slow down. It doesn't matter what music you're using, but I just want to demonstrate a little bit how slow I'm talking about. And I use this game. Okay, pretend the piano is a bomb. And the only way to get it to not explode is to diffuse it. You have to diffuse the bomb, and there's very specific instructions how to diffuse the bomb. If you were in this real world situation where it's like, okay, I'm on the phone with tech support, bomb squad, and they're like, you have to cut the blue wire. And you're like, is it the blue wire with white stripes or is it the white wire with blue stripes? And they're like, be careful. Like, how careful would you be? Especially if you know it's not going to go off until tomorrow and you've got literally all day to get this right. Any wrong move is disastrous. So that's the game I play, where it's like, okay, I'm going to play this 4 measures, and you do like one hand at a time. Step 1 is to find an E with my second finger. Okay, what's next? The next note is a D, and it's a step down, and so I'm going to use my thumb. And I'm touching it with my thumb, and I'm really secure. I'm pretty sure. Okay, good. And at this point, if I've got a student next to me, I'm like, you're doing great. I really trust you with my life right now, because you're taking the time. But when they start doing this, and I'm like, you're being very cavalier with both our lives right now. It's just a game that we're playing, you know? But the idea is to make sure that you slow down. Okay, how certain are you that you're going to play this note right? Positive. I can touch, I feel it with my finger. Step up. I see this third, and I know that my second finger is going to play in the left hand. So this goes up a third. I can feel that with my fourth finger. Down a third. Do you see how boringly slow that is? The most boringly slow thing to do? It's not actually. Because if you were diffusing a bomb, how bored, how bored would you be? Not at all bored. There's this myth that you hear. You have to play like a million wrong notes to play it right. I don't think that's true. Actually, you don't have to play any wrong notes. In fact, if you can get away with not playing wrong notes, the steps towards getting good at the piano will just be way shorter. You'll just shortcut your way there. It just is about doing things deliberately and then suddenly get out of the way. It'll happen by itself. Just happens by itself. Practice slow. Number 4, this is a mistake I see. People want to learn harder and harder pieces, bigger and bigger pieces. And I think that that's a big mistake because most of the skills that will make you sound like a good pianist are not really learned through big, hard pieces. They're learned by deliberately learning expressive skills at the piano. So I don't know, the mistake is not learning to be deliberately expressive. And how musical or non-musical you are has much less to do with how you are sounding as a pianist. Because I know very, very musical people that are not playing very expressively because they just don't have the skills to do it. The skills that I'm talking about mostly are those of balance, being able to play your right hand louder than your left hand, especially. If you do that one thing, if you concern yourself with making your right hand louder than your left hand, you'll be a way better sounding pianist just overnight. Just like that. What did you do different? It sounds better. I just made my right hand louder than my left hand. That's a skill. And if you can concern yourself with that a little bit, to trust that that is something that is always going to make your piece sound better, balancing the right hand out, it's even better. The next one is phrasing. If you can have a line that sounds like it's getting bigger, it's getting louder gradually, and things aren't poking out and you're listening to how gradual it sounds, that's a huge part of playing the piano. If you can just have dynamics, and play softer and play louder, and then phrase in between, huge difference. The next one is pedaling. If you listen and pedal with your ears more and have a little bit more concern with where to pedal and how to pedal, and people that are clunky with the pedal, that over pedal and think of the pedal as just off, on, off, on, off, on. It's not. There's like all sorts of things that you can do with the pedal. You can flutter it, you can half pedal, you can quarter pedal, you can just barely touch it, you can just stomp on it once. It's everything in between, and you can be very, very creative with it. And actually, the more creative you are with your pedal, the more people are gonna be like, wow, that's good pedaling. And the last one, and this is always the hardest, is voicing. The idea of voicing is to play a chord and make the top note the loudest. It doesn't always have to be the top note. Sometimes you'll want to bring out an inside note, like that, which is harder to do in my opinion. If you can learn to bring out the top note, it makes a huge difference. If I play everything the same like this, it sounds good, but if you voice the top and make everything else quieter, it'll sound way better. If you can learn those 4 things, balance, pedaling, voicing, phrasing, those are the things that make a pianist sound proficient. It makes them sound very professional, regardless of how innately musical you are or how emotionally connected you are to the music, which is great. It's great to be emotionally connected to it. And that's why I started this video with, I'm not trying to make anybody wrong here. If you are emotionally connecting with music and it's a positive, happy thing in your life, I don't care how you practice. There are some more efficient ways to practice and all of these things. If you want more rants like this in your email inbox, I would remind you to join my email list. It's there in the link. If you need something else to watch, I did a recent video about scales. I'll put it right there. Apparently it helps a lot. I got a lot of positive comments on that, so check it out. Thanks, bye.